Good morning, good afternoon. How are you? Where I am is good morning. I greet everybody. How are you? How are you? Who is going to join me? Share the video, a comment. There is no bad comment. We are about democracy. We are in New Uganda. Say whatever you want to say. I'm here for a few minutes to make sense of the State of Nation speeches which were made by our president, Honorable Excellency Bobby Wine, and he delivered a speech that has brought Uganda to a standstill. So here what is a few tips what he said.
Supplies, which is actually the legal licensing authority, should split the average cost of every liter of fuel into 3 categories and go ahead to publicize them for the consumer and ordinary person to understand and appreciate the changes that are happening. First, the unit cost of delivering a liter of fuel from wherever it's coming from to the borders of Uganda. Secondly, the tax per unit. And third, the margin of profit per unit. Now, every liter of fuel, whether petrol or diesel, has a unit cost. A cost of bringing it to the border. It could be Malaba, it could be Busia or Mutukula. For example, a liter is brought from the refineries in the Middle East up to Busia at a cost of, for example, 2,800 shillings. And this is the first level of costing. Now, the second level is tax. So you add the tax on that 2,800, which, is brought on our borders. The third category is the profit margin. Now, this is where everything goes wrong. The fuel companies are setting a higher profit margin, while the consumer has generally accepted to be exploited. The companies are setting whatever prices they want, while the regulator is quiet. This is not a mistake, ladies and gentlemen, because the same people who are supposed to regulate are actually the same people in the fuel business. So they cannot regulate themselves. They also do not break down and publicize all these details in transparency for you, the common person, to understand, because they want to exploit you in ignorance. Number 2, we think the government must abolish fuel marking because this is a useless exercise which was only useful in the years before customs computerized cargo tracking. But today, it only holds and delays trucks at the border for nothing. And number 3, and most urgent and important of all, is government must suspend taxes on crude vegetable oil and wheat. This will help to reduce the prices of essential items like chapati. The ghetto people in our cities, in the towns and the trading centers largely survive mainly on chapati, which also makes chikomando and makes Rolex. And this policy decision is very urgent and indeed long overdue. Let's forget about this business of Museveni coming to tell us to eat cassava if we can't afford bread. Cassava or cassava flour cannot make chapati. It cannot make chikomando, therefore it cannot make Rolex. But that goes ahead to just show how disconnected Museveni is from the people. Now you're going to ask me how...
Good morning. How are you, Ugandans? I'm back. I've been away, busy as always. That's my life. So today I'm going to make sense of the State of Nation, the speeches we had. We have speeches for the bridesmaids, that was Museveni. We have speeches for the groom and the bride, that was Bobby Wine. We have speeches for the pallbearer, that is Mugisha Muntu, because he's the last. He's going to make his speech of what? Nation. And the Kizza Besigye is going to make one any moment from now. So I'm going to make sense of the speech of nation, not to regurgitate, not to repeat what our president said. But I tell you what, I'm bouncing with joy, because as I heard that speech of nation by our president, I was sitting next to somebody of NRM, Guru, and he said from nowhere, I wasn't bothered about him. He said from nowhere that when Bobby Wine starts speaking, hitting the notes, the numbers, the facts, he is a presidential material. Thank you very much, President. Welcome back. You made a speech that has shaped our nation. You have shown how a leader you are, because your speech you made about the state of nation illustrated what is going on in Uganda and the crisis, and that changed the minds of people. It really attracted and challenged so many people who thought that NUP, we don't have that in us. And that is what exactly the president you did. What you did, that you challenged the NRM, you put them on the spot, and you said exactly what the state of nation was about. For me, I'm not going to repeat the contents. I welcome everybody. I recommend everybody to go for that speech on JB Mwonge, Echoto Reloaded, Echoto YouTube, Demi Profile, and so many. I saw Noah Mtwe, wherever, anybody, Uganda Bleeding, go and watch that speech. I've watched it about 6 times. I haven't had enough. I'm still watching. So when you compare that with what Museveni said, Museveni, they deceived to fail. What has come out to that? NUP has connected our manifesto, our legislative agenda, our objectives, our ideology into this speech of nation, the state of nation, because when you see they brought it together. So this puts the NRM advisors on the back foot. So what we saw president, we saw come see the man, come see the hour. We saw our president speak like a president, that no one can say that he didn't give a state of nation. And the way that he started going fast, that was a good timing. That was good plan ahead. And that has put, you saw NRM 7 pumping, jumping. The moment he started giving a parable of two men, I knew that wasn't going to be a state of nation. Briefly, our constitution, Article 101, it talks about a president must come and give a state of nation. That is Article 101 and 1. That is, it's a must. They must come and give a state of nation. So that is what our president excellent did. And when you compare the contents in his message, he talked about Chikomando. Those who don't know politics, those who are in Zara total politics, Kabanda, David Kabanda model, they jumped and said, how can you talk about Chikomando? You are not ambitious, you are not. But let me tell you, when you become a president, you become a president of the United Kingdom, you must know the cost of a liter of milk. You must know the cost of what ordinary people they buy. That means that this speech, the speech of our president, it exonerated him what we say, people-centered government, that we are people power. Our ideology, we are going to be with a common man. We stand with a common man. We understand what the common man is about. What happened is that NRM, they don't understand. What happened when you make sense of our speech? Our president talked about the issues, skyrocket prices, the fuel, how they can, and he gave also solutions, what to do. Cut the prices, do this, cut the prices of wheat, because as we stand for now, Ugandans now chapati has become a daily meal. So you need to look at how can ordinary person or survive, and how can you make life so easy for ordinary person. Museveni went ahead, he talked about coffee, he talked about Europeans, he talked about this, he talked about NRM, he talked about Bush War. We don't need that now. What matters now is how people they are getting on with the life. Is life sustainable? Can they live within their means? The president did not mention about the failing economy, but lied to the nation that we have middle income status. The president did not talk about the crisis into finance. The president did not talk about abuse of human rights. But again, he talked about that Ugandans, they shouldn't free Uganda because of abuse of human rights. But that is not true. The president failed to talk about how rule of law has damaged Uganda, how economy has been damaged, how agriculture has been ignored. Oh, honorable. But then is Ellen Prezo spent half of the speech complaining that slating his plan to cap her. Yeah, the president seems to be with the lack of no idea. What the president faced has never faced this generation. Of previous, he could come, ramble, complain, write to people about state of nation, and then he will be gone. And then they give him praises. But now he faces alternative government in waiting to take power, that people will challenge him. And now we have winner to winner. We have facts after facts. You cannot tell us that Peniti Enrica was given a contract when he didn't have expertise in the trade of coffee. Why did you give it to him? How comes the money for Rubowa 1.6 trillion is missing? So the state of nation in Museveni failed miserably. And NUP excelled because we talked about the ordinary conditions. As we speak for now, the price for a liter of petrol Uganda, the minimum is 70,000 shillings. Many people now, they are not driving to work. And now the prices for taxes will be going up. And now overcrowding in taxes is going to cause problems. Is pickpocketing, communicable diseases, lack of fresh air. So where are we going now? The state of nation, let us listen to what our president said in the state of nation. That is exactly what I know the state of nation. And he's going to come back with the policies to do with the social issues, to do with education, health, job creation, and the housing, transportation. The president didn't talk about the human trafficking organs, the problem in Uganda. The problem, President Museveni did not talk about the export of Ugandans to Arab countries becoming slaves. Museveni did not talk about the strike by medical health workers. Museveni did not talk about the his exit. Museveni did not talk about the political prisoners in prison. As we start, as now I started my campaign, that we make noises for Honorable Segrinya Sewanyana. Please, everybody put up something. I'm on day 2. Put up something on Segrinya and Sewanyana to free them. Let us focus on that. We are going astray. Instead of going after all these, what Pato calls Bizimongo, let us demand free Segrinya. Let me tell you, one tweet, one Facebook cannot make a mistake. We have to do that. We have to call for their release, demand. Please, everybody, every day do that. I'm on day 23 when I'm talking about constitution relating to everything happening in Uganda. I'm on day 9, day 10, talking about civil disobedience, but Facebook doesn't want me to talk about that. They've given me warning, wherever, but then what can I do? I have to call people, so we have to kunga people. So Our state of nation is what our president said. We like it or not. NRM did not. I don't know who wrote the speech. So, and what happens? It exonerated our president. Many, they said he doesn't have a clue to do with the economy. But the little he said, that is what is needed. That is what is needed. When a president speaks, they don't speak for too long. Like Museveni comes and speaks for 2 hours. When a president speaks, it's like bulletin. It's like points that you make points that people, they make sense of that. That is exactly what Nkunyingi did. That is what exactly other speakers, they've been coming to make sense of what the president does. And that is our job we should be doing. Hey, bansaba okwogera mu Luganda, bannayuganda njogerako wano ku bintu ebyabadde mu kwogera eri embeera y'ensi nga bw'eyimiridde. Kiri mu ssemateeka nti omukulembeze alina okujja n'ayogera omulundi gumu mu mwaka n'ayogera ku mbeera y'ensi nga bw'eyimiridde. Pulezidenti waffe yalondebwa nga 14 January 2021 Robert Kyagulanyi ye yasookedde mu ddiiro n'ayogera ng'omukulembeze era n'ayogera ebintu ng'embeera Uganda bw'eyimiridde. Naye yayogedde ku kintu ekikwatagana ku chapati. Efuuse emmere eya bulijjo, efuuse nti abantu kati ye mmere yaabwe gye basobola. N'ayogera era n'asaba basale ku miwendo egy'eŋŋano omuntu asobole okulya chapati egira, kubanga kati abantu tebakyasobola muwogo, tebakyasobola matooke. Ekyo mu kusooka abantu baakiyisizaamu amaaso, abantu nga David Kabanda. Naye gye bugenze abantu bagenze bakitegeera nti eyo nsonga nkulu nnyo. Mu Bungereza Prime Minister tasobola kulondebwa nga tayogedde bbeeyi ya kintu kya wansi, omuntu wa wansi kyagula amata, obuntu buno obutono, sente alinnya atya baasi bwe basookerako, kati bo balowooza mbu alina kusookera ku binene. Naye Museveni yagenze okwogera nga talina kyakwogera kubanga pulezidenti waffe yabadde amuyisizaamu eggaali, ate baabadde tebakisuubira. Kati ye najja n'abeeraawo n'ayogera eby'emmwanyi, n'ayogera ebya gundi, yeewakana n'agera buli kaseera nga bw'ayogera, naye teyatubuulidde ssente z'omusolo zigenda wa, finance ebyenfuna bibi, abaana tebasoma, amalwaliro, enguzi teyayogedde, abaana baffe abagenda e Buwarabu, ebintu bingi teyabyogeddeko, n'ebbeeyi y'omuwendo erinnya teyagyogeddeko, wabula yatugambye nti ebbeeyi yaffe ey'okulinnya evudde ku bintu bya Ukraine. Boddayo ku mikutu gino gye ndiko, nakola live ng'ekwatagana ku significance of essential commodities. Nakolako nayogerako ku kintu ky'emiwendo ekyo, kiki ekirumika emiwendo egyo okubeera nga gikaayuse. Nakyogerako era bwe mukebera vidiyo eyo gyeri. Nenjogera ne ku mukyala oyo Panetta bwe yali atize ng'atubba, era naye eyo vidiyo gyeri. Naye Museveni teyasobodde kugamba nti mukyala Panetta baamuwa $1.6 eza Lubowa Hospital teyakolebwa eri ku musingi. Naye yagambye nti yeye yamuwa ddiiru, naye yali talina bukugu mu bintu by'emmwanyi, yalina obukugu mu bintu by'obulamu. Ne weebuuza yatuukawo atya? Now, so where we are going now, fellow Ugandans, we are facing a time that we need to arise to occasion. Our president is doing that and is leading the lead. So we are having now a pre-budget is going to come and the budget is going to come. But the more we talk about it, the more they can make changes. Before, I've always noted that they come and say that the budget is going to be 48.1 trillion. But let me tell you, those they say it, they make it as if it is real allocated, but that money does not get anywhere. And because simple, the money is not there. So we need to get on our facts. Let us focus, okay? Let us concentrate. And also something else I want to teach you is something to do with international relationship. When we talk about international relationship, we need to speak their language. Their language is not to speak English, Italian, German, Swedish. No, there is a language that they speak. And one of the people who has demonstrated that language is our president, Robert Chagulanyi. That's why he is invited to go into Switzerland to speak to international media about human rights. That's why he was in Somalia. That's why he was in UN Belgium. That's why people, international media, they want to speak to him. So when you speak to international media, we need to know how. Because the reason I'm speaking to this, Kagame is being rewarded. He's not the best. He is a dictator. He's even worse. But he set his country in a way that when international media, they look at that, they say, oh, now the remittance, all the money that's sent to Uganda must go through Rwanda. All the immigrants must go through Rwanda. All these Prince Charles is going to visit Rwanda. All those visit Rwanda, Arsenal sponsorship is going to be offered to Rwanda. When you see that, they are offering somebody who is worse and worse. But for one reason, that politics sometimes is about pretense. So he set up a system in place that as if things are going for right in Rwanda, but basically on the ground, they are not going right. But when these people, international community, they look into the system, they can see, they can transfer money, and that money will reach everywhere safely. So that is what we have to learn, that we need to learn to speak the language. So when we go ahead, the speech of nation, when we talk about the state of nation, I'm encouraging you to question about our Kayola car factory. If we had invested in our Kayola car factory, then Anito Monji and Taebwa, they wouldn't buy vehicles of 2.60 trillion. So this is how we are going to argue our points. And the reason I want the speech from our president, the State of Nation, it connected very well with the legislative agenda. When you read our manifesto, it connected very well with our manifesto. Because when you write a manifesto, it has got to be in line with the Constitution. When you come with a legislative agenda, you have to connect it with the Constitution and your manifesto. So everything blended very, very well. And as we stand for this stand, is about that accountability and services. I would like to thank all Ugandans. Now I believe Uganda is awake. Now I believe Ugandans is awake. Thank you, People Power. When People Power came, they brought in to raise awareness. That is one thing that People Power did. That was to raise Ugandan awareness. Second was to awaken Ugandans. Why I'm saying that? The comments, the response to President Museveni when he said Uganda has reached a middle income status is how Ugandans they responded. With the photos, with the captions, with the suggestion, with a comment. Everybody disagreed. Not even in NRM they agreed. Everybody disagreed that Ugandans hasn't reached middle income. So I congratulate Ugandans. I believe Ugandans now, we are getting to the tipping point. I believe once we raise awareness, we do the civil education, once we tell the people about their entitlements and rights, that is how they are going to raise up. And as for now, Ugandans, they have risen up above high level. And the one thing that came out in the speech of nation is something to do with the digital era. Young Turks, they are good at digital. Old people, they are good, but it wasn't demonstrated. What happened is that our state of nation was presented on digitally through Zoom or StreamYard. No inconvenience, but imagine Uganda is the third poorest country. Economy is going bonkers. And what happened? Museveni is coming to town. The roads were closed. So you stop the people, you stop the economy, you inconvenience everybody. And then what happens? So why didn't Museveni make that speech in the State House on Zoom? That was simple. That was simple. So that illustrates how that NUP stands and has positioned that we are going to be like people in a digital era, that we cope with what the world needs, with what the demands of the world that we need. I congratulate our president. I congratulate all the people who prepared that, because the message of our president has got all over the whole world. I've been reading other international news. Surprise, I found somebody in Russia talking about our president, the speech of nation. And people, they are really giving credit to Robert, how he's going after the dictator. Before, it looked as if it was very hard, but now Robert Chagulanyi has softened up the ground. Unless we don't want it, fellow Ugandans, unless we don't want it, that tree is already on the floor. Don't allow them to lift that tree. What Bobby Wine did is not going to be done again. But we have to do it every day, every day, every day. You had the state of nation. Everybody knew what the state of nation. But we expected it to hear that we are going to cut the taxes so that people, they can be able to buy wheat or chapati at a cheaper price. We expected it to hear, like our president said, that the prices of fuel, they're going to go down, and we take up the taxes. We expect, imagine, our president said that the amount of money used on State House could be used to do all these, to exempt all these taxes. What is so difficult? So why I like my president? When he speaks politics, he gives the problem and he gives the solution. When he was in Geneva, he gave them 4 conditions. Now, when he spoke about the state of nation, he gave the problem and then he gave solutions. So that is how we are going to move. So state of nation has shown and exposed NRM incompetence, has shown how NUP, we are competent and we are ready to take our country and transform, because our main objective, our main aim is to transform Uganda. When we are going to transform Uganda, it's going to be unit, not by one. This is why I'm telling you that I was very, very happy that the state of nation, the speech from our president, has connected very well with our manifesto, with our legislative agenda, with our constitution. While everybody is crying foul of agriculture, NUP has said things to do with agriculture as one of our quad A. When people, they are crying foul of, is it Panetta? Go and read, is it 275? NUP has already said it's going to help local businesses. Local businesses. Go and read 188 in our manifesto. It's going to be that they are going to focus on local businesses. So why would NRM focus on international or foreign? So NUP has done its job. The Uganda Vision 2040 is a document that outlines the path and strategies to operatize Uganda Vision. Okay, therefore, I expected Museveni tell Ugandans what plan Uganda has achieved with the Vision 2040. Museveni Nup is a government in waiting. That's our high, guys. So, Belina, fair people, our power, our elected president Chagulanyi was talking about the real life of people, of our food. Thank you so much. So, the state of nation, believe me or not, Museveni failed flat. NRM deceived it to fail. And for so long, they have got away with that. But until NUP came into power, now they are being exposed, because we are the alternative and we are the real deal. So when you hear about what is happening, I heard what happened in Consase. Oh, it is so sickening. But one of the things I can say, comrades, Museveni said something that the afraid so sick afraid I did not want to come back online, afraid the whole world. Now the thing is saying, tell me, when Museveni said he was brought to Uganda by God and his good friends of Uganda took him on. Bannayuganda, Museveni yagambye yaleetebwa e Uganda Katonda, bannayuganda mikwano gye ne bamukwatako. Kati njagala okubategeeza bannayuganda, mwegendereze nnyo. Eno ensobi teddangamu kukolwa. Teddangamu kukolwa. Bwe tuwanga tuli millions 45, Robert Kyagulanyi waali. For Ugandans, let us not fall into this mistake again. Uganda is for Uganda, and we should be working for Uganda, and we should put Ugandans first. We should prioritize Uganda. We've got so many Ugandans with the ambition to become leaders of Uganda, but not foreigners. So as I wind today, I loved the State of Nation by President-elect Robert Kyagulanyi because he talked about common issues, common solutions, how the current state is about. But when Museveni came, he rambled, he misdirected, just went astray and spoke whatever they wrote for him. However, our State of Nation connected very well and blended with our constitution, with our manifesto, which tells the nation we are a party ready to lead, we are a party in waiting to govern Uganda sensibly and to take Uganda, our country, further, to transform our country. So with that, there is a lot, so many people, they are going to talk about nitty-gritty, but I don't want to go into that. I don't want to dilute. All I can encourage you, watch that speech again and again, share that speech again and again, listen one beat by one beat, and that is what the State of Nation as Uganda it is. As I leave you for today, I would like to thank you for joining me. I'd like to thank you for your comments. I'd like to thank you for your time. I'd like to thank you for sharing. You have a good day. We are still going. Don't forget, release, to ask for release of Segrinya and Sewanyana and all other political prisoners. Olivia, Machete, so many people. Uganda is for everybody. Uganda is for all, and we're entitled to live in a free Uganda. Whether we are bad or good, Uganda will always be our home. So for God and my country, I stand out. Munnayuganda Sali omwana w'enkima, Ssaabasajja wangaale, Mutaawe Emmanuel, salute. Hello, President, thank you so much. Salute. People power, our power. NUP everywhere, everywhere, NUP. Temwerabira ogende Hague nga 3 June. Thanks so much. Have a lovely day.